What? You got to stop saying all those really offensive things that you were saying. I didn't even want to hear those offensive things that you were saying.
Yeah, well, toast should be made illegal.
That's not what you were saying. You know. Boom. And we're live. Thank goodness I started the live stream after you were done saying those things. We drummed out of
my
so
toast trash talk.
Don't ever let me hear you talk about toast that way again. But you know what, man? I love toast. My wife says I put too much butter on toast. And I'm like,
not possible.
That's the whole point of toast. If you don't put a lot of butter on it, then literally what is the point of the toast? Because if you just toast it, then it's just burnt bread.
Yeah.
Like the whole point of heating it up is so that you can just, slather on a half stick of butter.
Yeah.
And then you get that first bite where the edges are crunchy, but like the interior of the bread has been absolutely soaked with butter.
That's pretty good.
Oh my goodness, look at these concurrent viewers show up. Hey everyone, we got an exciting show for you all today. And we got a kind of a slow Apple News week, so we're gonna dive into the realm of the weird and wacky in the world of tech. Let me just tell you. We've got some stories here that I never thought I'd see, so we're gonna dive in just a sec. Before we do that though, would you like a gift from me, Lewis? It's a personal gift from me to you.
That sounds great.
Oh no! I closed it. I restarted my computer and it's gone. Now that's a bummer. I had a masterful tweet. Let's see if it's still in there. Did it save it? Let's see if it's there. No, it's of course totally gone. That's a major bummer, man, because that was probably the best tweet I've ever written. And now it's gone. So let's just do this. Cultcast is live talking. God, what a bummer. Because my computer was acting really strange before we started. And so I was like, I better restart before we get going, right? Because I know how angry Lewis gets if there's any issues going on. And hold on, guys. Sorry, you're watching the sausage be made. I know, Lewis, you're a big fan of sausage.
Not when you say it like that.
I didn't mean it any other way than, sausage is good. There we go. There we go. Man, I really screwed that up, but that's okay. Boom. It's live. Shout out to Colby Roy. He says, let's go. Keith Schlong's here. He says, Schlong is here.
God.
Schlong is here. We all knew. We all saw you coming from a mile away. We are live, baby. Toast is a plate for butter. Now, that is true. Mark T gives us a howdy. Old school listener here. Yeah, so, Lewis, you probably saw this. Now, this is truly true to form. So I wasn't sure if we had made it to 10 years yet, but apparently our listeners who have been listening since the beginning, which there are a number of them, informed me that we actually missed our 10-year anniversary. We're almost at 11 years. It's going to be at 11 years in February. So
wow. What is that, like a plastic anniversary or?
A plastic anniversary? What?
It's not gold anniversary, is it?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, the gold one was 10 years, I think.
Concrete.
Actually, it would be really cool to get like a concrete plaque or something. Man, that is a major bummer. I can't believe that we missed it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get rolling.
Gift is, it doesn't say.
What?
Oh, well, modern 11th anniversary gift is jewelry.
Oh.
And the 11-year anniversary gemstone is turquoise.
Well, I'll be expecting like
turquoise
earrings or something from you.
That's another word you don't get to use every day. Turquoise. I suppose I could. I could start calling everything turquoise. But then
I feel like if you lived in the Southwest, you get to use that word a lot. It's like, get me the turquoise forks. The company's coming over. Where's my turquoise bolo? Everyone's wearing turquoise everywhere down there.
That is weird, man. They sure sell it at the rest stops.
Yeah, it's all over the place. All right.
How am I going to add value to this tweet?
I don't know. I mean, you so rarely do.
Oh, God.
They're just so perfect as is. Okay, so let me go ahead and cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who, and let's get this show rolling while you're working on that tweet. Oh, Mrs. D. Hello. Hey, Mrs. D, how's it going? You're seeming very chipper today. Oh, yes, I got a very special turquoise gift from one Mr. L. Caney. Oh, really? Yes. Care to share? Oh, yes, they were nibble pasties. Oh,
jeez.
That is gross. I did not want to hear anything about that. And that is a strange gift, don't you think, Lewis?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made those. How do they hang on? Anyway, we can talk about that later. Let's go ahead and get
Lord.
this show going. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, I'm going to get the music going, and we'll get the show started in 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the Hookcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Jeff Lashley. Joining me today when he's not using his hands to throw darts or discipline Cult of Mac writers. You'll find him at his keyboard, typing at a crisp 530 words per minute. I didn't even know it could be done. Managing editor of Cult of Mac, Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, they're short words, though. A, I,
You try to only type in vowels, right?
and it's just single letters, yeah. Single letter
Well,
words.
that's all you need for Cult of Mac.
Occasionally we use the.
You don't want to use words longer than 3 or 4 letters, Cult of Mac. This isn't daring fireball over here, Lewis,
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got a great show for you guys today. I know it seems hard to believe because there's not very much Apple news to talk about, but when there's not much Apple news, we can explore other topics of interest. So we have M2 MacBook Pros. They're incoming. They might actually be here before you know it. So we'll talk about that. And if you're making a buying decision, like I have been recently, it's kind of a tough time to be buying a MacBook Pro because, the new ones come out and the old ones drop in price. Well, that's not guaranteed anymore, especially with the MacBook Air. But I think that's going to be the way it works this time because it's going to just be like a spec bump and stuff. So we'll talk about that. Let's see here. We have a pretty interesting feature being built into iOS 16 that if this becomes ubiquitous, if manufacturers really start implementing this feature, this could really change how you interact with the HomeKit accessories in your household. I mean, like you could be like walking room to room and have things activating depending on your location. It's pretty crazy stuff. So we'll talk about that. We have a giveaway, of course, to talk about, and that's pretty much all the Apple news. So we're diving into the realm of general tech news, and we've got some interesting stuff here. Apparently, Amazon is soon going to be launching their Prime Delivery drone program. So you may soon be able to get a delivery with a drone. They've been working on this for like 9 years, and it's finally ready, and it's actually totally crazy. They actually have some other drone or delivery technology that they're working on, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll wrap up with a story that I thought was just totally out of left field, and I was kind of stunned to see it, and that is the rebirth of Delorean. The Delorean, that car from Back to the Future, that company was purchased. So it was originally launched by this guy named John DeLorean, and the company sold. It's under a new owner now, and the new owner is basically getting ready to relaunch the company with a brand new futuristic DeLorean. So we'll take a look at the Alpha 5, the new DeLorean, coming out, or at least it's going to be revealed in August, so you should soon be able to see it, but we'll show you some pictures and stuff of it. So we'll wrap up with that. Before we dive in to all the fun, let me give a very hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Do I have my I did it. I've got browser mode activated.
We're so proud of you.
Well, I often forget,
All of us.
and then I have to do it on the fly. Squarespace has everything you need to sell anything. I know that because I sell coat cloth at coatcloth.co, and I use a Squarespace website that I built and designed and maintained myself. And man, it just couldn't be easier. It could not be easier. You go in there, you drag and drop everything. You don't need to know how to code, and it integrates with payment services and all sorts of like fulfillment services. They have like so many integrations with so many companies out there that you can hook in all the services that you use to track your inventory or manage fulfillments or, do payments and stuff. And then it's just, it's just plug and play. You just kind of ignore it after that and you just watch the bucks roll in. And believe me, they roll in. They've been rolling in for years. These coat cloth orders, they just don't stop. People just keep ordering coat cloth. And I manage the entire thing on a Squarespace website, and I don't have to hassle with it. I don't have to mess with it. If I want to go in there and change something, I can. But other than that, they just do everything. I mean, the website looks great on any device that visits. The payment processing couldn't be easier. I can manage my orders. I can cancel orders and create new orders. I mean, I can just do it all. If you're interested in selling products, definitely check out squarespace.com/cultcast, or maybe you just want to create a website to promote your business or your portfolio of work, create a blog. You can give people a way to book your time, so you can like teach them something that you know how to teach people, or you can promote yourself to potential employers. Squarespace makes it easy to do all that stuff. It's just all there for you to play around with and included in your Squarespace membership. So go to squarespace.com/cultcast to get started. And if you like what you have after the trial, use code cultcast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase. And if you do a year of service, you can get an additional year of service, which is what I do. Or an additional discount, on a year of service purchase, which is what I do. Squarespace.com/cultcast and use offer code cultcast at checkout. All right, Lewis. Who's first? Oh, is it me?
Looks like I am.
Oh, no, it's you. Let's talk about
Yeah.
these M2 MacBook Pros, which have been causing me some personal turmoil because I'm not sure if I should wait for them before So I just bought a MacBook Pro, a 14-inch, which I love. But I started thinking, wait a second, maybe I should have waited because these are right around the corner. And when these come out, the price of the M1 Max, M1 Pro, MacBook Pros are going to drop, right? You would think. But I'm getting ahead of ourselves here. Take it away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As per usual.
So Apple reportedly has a very aggressive timeline, very, very aggressive, for adding to its M2 chip lineup. This is a report coming from Bloomberg. It says Apple hopes to launch the M2 Pro and M2 Pro. That sounded weird. M2 Pro and M2 Max MacBook Pros as early as fall 2022 or by spring 2023 at the latest. Of course, ongoing supply chain issues make it a little bit difficult to pinpoint the exact timeline. But this comes right on the heels of Apple launching the M2-powered 13-inch MacBook Pro and MacBook Air, which it announced at WWDC 22 earlier this year. The new M2 chip brings 18 to 35% uplift in CPU and GPU performance. And this report, which of course comes from Mark Gurman,
it's a regurgitation.
I almost didn't even give him the props for it, but yes, it comes from Gurman. He thinks that the M2 Pro and Max chips will focus on improved GPU performance. Be shocking if they didn't. They could also be more efficient thanks to the 3 nanometer fabrication node. Other changes are unknown. New Macs unlikely to support any major design changes, and that's probably because they just redesigned the thing last year, right? So they got the major 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro redesign with all the extra ports that everybody loves. It's fast. It's fast. It's more like an iPhone, right? Like you get a new one every year.
It's going to be a spec bump. It's going to be M2, right? It's going to be 10% faster single core performance. They'll add some more cores on there to make it seem like it's way more powerful, even though the extra cores they add you may not even be able to utilize, which I think is a major problem with the M1 Ultra. That they're like, look at all these cores, you have all this power. It's like, well, yeah, but nothing really takes advantage of all those cores. So I don't really know if it benefits you unless you're doing like some kind of very specific application that can utilize all those different cores. And I would be shocked if there were any kind of redesign. There might be a little bit of additional brightness for the screen or something, but by and large, it's going to be the same computer. I think what's
nits.
Yeah, some nits. I know you're a big fan of nits, so we'll get some extra nits in there. But I think that what's interesting about this is, so I'm looking at the Mac Rumors buying guide, which they have a great buying guide, which shows you like the average amount of time between releases. And this would be one of the fastest releases that we've had. Like they don't usually go below 300 days. And it might indicate that because Apple is now including their own silicon in this, that they are going to be updating these on a more regular basis than they were before, because they had Intel to worry about and wait to see if Intel was going to do anything right. So it seems like we might be on track for like a yearly update. And the question is now, if you were thinking about buying a MacBook Pro, is it better to buy now or wait? So I just bought this 14-inch, which I absolutely love, which Man, dude, I'm all over the place, man. So I have the Mac Studio with M1 Ultra. I'm thinking about selling it because I love it, but what I seriously underestimated is how infrequently I'm at my desk. And I thought, oh well, now this is at my desk, I will use this way more often. No. I just don't use it all that often because it's just at my desk all the time and I have to go in there and use it. And so I bought the 14-inch MacBook Pro, a refurbished one, and I got a great price on it. And now I'm thinking, okay, I love this computer, but the one thing about it that I didn't anticipate is it's got a much shorter keyboard deck. And when I'm using it, the edge of the computer constantly digs into my palms.
Yeah, there you go.
And I just never really had spent a lot of time creating on a computer like that. And with the 16-inch MacBook Pro, first of all, it runs faster because it has a much better cooling system in it, so that you actually get the full performance of the M1 Max, which is what I have. But you have a longer keyboard deck, and so your hands are resting on top of the aluminum instead of on the very edge, being pressed into that really sharp edge it has. And so now I'm like, man, can I live with this? I don't know. And I got to make up my mind because my return period is
got like a couple days left, right?
No, I have like I made an appointment on Apple's website for Saturday. I'm like, I have to have a decision by Saturday. I'm going in there because my AirPods, to use Leander Caney's language, went teats up, and my AirPods 3 are having like all sorts of bizarre issues. I've been having these issues ever since I got them. Yeah, like they'll constantly disconnect and reconnect like 10 times before they actually work. They're all over the place with charging. Like I'll open them up and it will say like the right AirPod is totally dead. And then I'll put it into the case and it's like, actually, nope, it's 85% charged, and I can take it back out and use it. So I'm having all these weird issues that could go on. So I made an appointment for that.
Go get new ones.
I'm going to go get
Swap
new
them
AirPods.
out.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll just give me new ones.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to have to make my decision about the MacBook Pro. So now I'm like, do I keep the 14-inch and sell my Mac Studio, or do I keep my Mac Studio and just live with the 14-inch, or do I trade the 14-inch in and get the 16-inch, which I think is what I'm gonna do? I've been spinning in circles on this for like a week and a half, man. It's such a tough decision. It really is. But
you know, that problem that people like to have.
And the other thing is about the 14-inch MacBook Pro that I never would have anticipated is it's really small and lightweight, which I love. But when I have it on my lap, I find that it's not as stable as the 16-inch MacBook Pro. It constantly just, bounces around because it's smaller and lighter weight. And I was like, I never would have anticipated that, It's one of those real-world things. Yeah. So anyway.
I don't like working on a laptop, man.
You don't like working on a laptop?
No, not unless I absolutely... I mean, they're great for if you're traveling or, you need to get, but, yeah, I would never sit and type at a laptop for hours and hours if I didn't have to.
Jeff Druin, is there ever a time when Airfon isn't questioning a purchase?
That's a good point.
I'm not sure. I'm sure there's been a couple things that I've purchased.
It's not that you're fickle. It's just that you always want the best possible thing.
Yeah, that's true. This is the thing. I mean, like you buy stuff, you try it out, and then you have to figure out if you want to keep it. And one of the things I hate doing is wasting money, right? Like I hate making a purchase, and then you realize, actually I didn't need that, and it's just sitting there, and now it's just sitting there depreciating. Like that is so painful to me that it makes me agonize over decisions. Like if I think that something isn't going to be actually utilized on a regular basis, especially if it's expensive, then I start agonizing over it. I'm like, do I need this? Like, was this the right choice? But the 16-inch MacBook Pro has been such a perfect computer for me for so long. I thought I would try something different this year. And I'm not really loving the other things that I've bought. Like I would definitely keep the I can't remember the name of it. The Studio Display. I would definitely keep that. But like the Mac Studio, as powerful as it is, it's like if you're not at your desk all the time utilizing it, then, it's just not necessarily worth it to me. So anyway, we're totally on a tangent. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh yeah. So the 14-inch, 16-inch MacBook Pros. So Gurman was saying in his report, he expects them to come in the fall, but they might come in as late as spring, depending on manufacturing issues. So there you go. That's your window. And I'm like, if they're going to come in the fall, then it's worth it to wait and not buy anything right now. But if it's going to be spring, then it's definitely not worth it to wait. That's way too long. So now I think that it probably is better just to buy one now because it may be spring. But I would buy the refurbished one. The refurbished store is being getting restocked with MacBook Pros and all other Macs on a regular basis. Like every day now, they're getting restocked. And so that's definitely the best way to buy them. Do we have any other thing about the story that we want to add? You already talked about the expectations for the hardware.
I think there's literally nothing else. Apple might release new computers.
Apple might release new computers in the fall or spring. There you go. Eric Rosener saying, love my MacBook Pro 16. Was a little worried about the size, but it was totally worth it. Yeah, man. I got to say, I do love that 14-inch. The size is so nice, and it's so lightweight. It's 3.5 pounds versus 4.7 pounds. That makes such a big difference. It's easy to pick up. It's easy to work with. The battery life has been great. But my two qualms about it is because its heating or its cooling system is a lot smaller than the 16-inch. MaxTech did a great video on this, and they just said it got significantly worse performance in a lot of scenarios because it just can't cool itself, so it has to throttle. Whereas the MacBook Pro 16-inch doesn't do that. So that's one reason to go 16-inch. But then the other reason is it's like, if you don't need the portability, if that's not critical to you, then you get a larger screen and you don't have the freaking keyboard digging into your hands. Like that's my number one issue is like when I use the MacBook Pro, that edge is constantly digging into my hands. And after a while, it starts to get really uncomfortable, and I'm like, I can't stop. I have to finish editing the podcast or whatever I'm doing. So if you have small, diminutive little hands like Alexi Heath, like tiny little, girl-like child hands, then that's probably not a big deal. But if you have powerful, masculine man hands like I do, or medium-sized hands like medium-sized Lewis Wallace, may not work for you. All right, let's talk about iOS 16. So here was an interesting story that emerged this week. Well, first of all, shout out to Vadim from MaxTech. So when they were doing their teardown of the M2 MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air, they found out that there is a U1 ultra wideband chip on the logic board. Now, Apple didn't talk about this at all. And if you remember, this chip is used for like hyper precise location. I don't know what you call it, location positioning. So if you have a newer iPhone 11 or newer, and a HomePod Mini, if you get your phone close to the HomePod Mini, a new menu will pop up and your phone will start vibrating, and it gives you like access to these menus. I actually turned that off because I found it to be really annoying.
It's a creepy thing.
You think so? I just thought it was like I'm way too close to my AirPod Minis all the time because they're on my desk, because my phone was constantly freaking out, so I had to turn it off.
Yeah, no, I had that exact same thing. Yeah, I constantly put it down to charge it, and it's like, it's shifting to there. I was like, no, I don't want you to do that. Yeah, so I had to move the HomePod Mini way off to the side. In fact, I almost don't even remember I have it anymore. It's that far away from me.
So why don't you just turn off the feature on your phone?
Why do I even have a HomePod Mini? I've got big speakers connected to my computer. It's kind of silly. I should move it to a different room.
Yeah, you should move it somewhere where you don't have other speakers that are easily accessible.
Yeah.
Anyway, hold on now. You're getting me off track. Like, Lord knows I don't need help going on a tangent here, and you're forcing me down a rabbit hole. So check this out. We have new capabilities that are going to be introduced in iOS 16. So this is from Mac Rumors. I'm going to read the story here. As part of WWDC, Apple announced that iOS 16 would allow third-party accessories with U1 chip integration to interact with the phone apps, even when the app is running in the background, enabling a new hands-free user experience. Well, in a press release recently, chip maker Qorvo said this new functionality will allow U1-enabled accessories to work in tandem with iOS 16 apps to trigger real-time actions based on your precise locations. So, for example, if you come into a room, the lights might automatically come on, or music might start playing, even if you aren't actively using an app at the time. Qorvo also announced that its ultra-wideband chips are now certified by Apple's MiFi program, M5 program. Accessory makers can use Qorvo's chips to create accessories that are compatible with U1-equipped iPhone and Apple Watch models. Currently, that's the iPhone 11 and newer, and Apple Watch Series 6 and newer, and then the HomePod Mini. And then, of course, the HomePod original that they're secretly working on. So that's probably
the AirTag. Don't forget the AirTag.
AirTags as well. Now that is interesting. AirTags as well. So just think of the possibilities here. This is why I think this story is so interesting. I mean, if you could have your phone trigger actions based on your actual location, now that's pretty cool. That means that because currently we're using Bluetooth to trigger such interactions, which is unreliable and really buggy. An example of this is like there are some smart locks that try to use Bluetooth to trigger the lock to unlock as you get closer to the door, but it doesn't always work. But you could have a smart lock with a U1 chip in it that would be able to unlock itself when you got within 5 feet of the door, and it would actually work reliably. Or you come in and all the lights turn on, the heat turns on, the air conditioning turns on. The coffee maker starts brewing your coffee. I mean, just think about that. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Like if your technology inside your house know where you are and can perform a function based off your precise location, that's crazy. Like you go to the bathroom and your toilet seat lifts, your shower turns on and it heats up to a certain temperature. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you could do. Did I just blow your mind, Lewis?
Not blown, but
warmed. How about moderately warm? Does it feel warmer than it was before?
I remember when they were talking about these U1 chip stuff. People have talked about how this is really important and how it's going to bring a bunch of really big changes, and I hope it does. But we'll see. I mean, I was trying to find an AirTag the other day. Mm-hmm. So I think what I noticed is that it says like, oh well, it's 8 feet away, and I keep trying to find it. I keep trying to find it. I found the bag that I thought it was in, but I'd actually moved it to a different bag. But so, you know what? I couldn't find it for a couple of days. But what finally happened was I went upstairs, and it was upstairs. But it couldn't tell me like, oh, it's above your head. It just said, oh, you're 8 feet away. But I was like, it was 8 feet up, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wonder how helpful this stuff will actually be. Because like, oh, if you walk in the room, what if you walk in the room downstairs? Is that going to turn your lights upstairs if you set it up that way?
I mean, I don't think so. It seems like it's pretty precise in my interactions with U1 and my HomePod Mini, which is like the extent of my interaction with it.
Right.
It seemed like it was pretty reliable. Like once you got your phone within a certain distance, it would automatically bring up that menu on your phone. It would start vibrating and stuff,
that has to be pretty close, though, right? I mean, like.
But I think it's programmed to work when you're that close to it. Like that's part of the interaction. But they can make it, a much broader distance, I believe.
So the light switch might say, oh, if you within 5 feet,
or something like that. Yeah.
What about the toilet seat? What kind of range are we talking with that?
I don't know. Maybe a couple feet for me and 1 foot for you.
Okay.
You know what my dream is in the iPhone for it to turn the lights off when you leave the room, so I don't have to like constantly bark at kids. Or the other thing is if I get like a U1 enabled gate closer, so that my freaking kids stop leaving the gate on the side of my house open, which happens probably at least once a day. And then what happens is my dog comes wandering outside and she's like, oh, the gate's open, right? So she leaves the yard, and she's like a 15-pound dog who thinks that she's 70 pounds. And she goes out and just starts chasing people and barking at them constantly. It happens all the time. And then we have to go hunt her down, and the people are always pissed because this dog is chasing them up the street, barking at them. There's this one guy, I went out there, and this one guy is like hiding behind his bike, like moving his bike around to like block my dog. And my dog's not going to bite him. She wasn't even that close, but he was freaked out. And I'm like, I feel bad. And this happens almost on a daily basis, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 times a day. And I'm just fuming, right? Because my kids will not close the gall darn gate, and there's nothing I could do to get them to remember. So I could
put a lock on it. Don't let them out.
Well, we need to use that gate to get in and out of the yard. We can't just lock it.
Lock it.
I need to use that gate when I'm taking my bike somewhere.
Can't you jump it?
Not on a bike. Maybe I could build a ramp in front of it. And sounds dangerous, though.
I'm just trying to solve your problem. I'm a problem solver.
I know, but you're not giving very helpful suggestions. To be honest with you, I appreciate your effort, but nothing that's really going to work.
An AirTag collar that doesn't let your kids leave the house.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
I'll
don't
suggest that to my wife. All right, we got
That's
iCave Dave here saying the Air 2 also has an accelerometer in it. Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? So the MacBook M2 Air has an accelerometer in it.
That's
He says
odd.
he's been using it all week, and it's epic. He loves it. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a beautiful machine.
What
Yeah.
is that for? What do you need an accelerometer and a laptop for?
I have no idea. I can't even think of an example. Like, why would you need an accelerometer in a computer? I mean, if it had a mechanical hard drive, that might be useful because if you dropped it, it would shut down the hard drive.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think is it does some kind of like protective thing if it notices it's falling. But interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea. Time will tell. TC's got big plans for us. You know, the only thing about the M2 MacBook Air that I think that people are being critical of, and we kind of mentioned this last week, so I won't belabor this point too much, is that it does overheat really fast. Like it gets up to 108 degrees Celsius in Max Tech's review. That's the hottest laptop I've ever seen. I have never seen anything get that high. I didn't even know it was possible to get that high. And so then it has to start throttling itself. I mean, at a certain point, you're going to start seeing like red hot magma coming out of the Thunderbolt ports, you know? That is insanely hot. I mean, let's see here. How hot is that? 108 degrees Celsius. I think that's over 212 degrees, but I could be wrong. Celsius. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Let's see here.
226.
Oh, it is. Okay, so it's 226 degrees. So that's hotter than boiling water.
Yeah, 100 Celsius is boiling water, right?
I don't know. I'm not from the UK, Lewis. Did you do that calculation?
No, I think that's where they set it. I don't know.
Okay, you're
I don't
right.
know.
So it's
I'm not that familiar with-
226.4 degrees Celsius. I have never seen a computer get that hot before. That's I mean, I thought that would like damage the motherboard or something.
That doesn't sound good.
You know? So and the other big complaint is there is a massive drop off in performance if you get the 256 gigabyte SSD version, because apparently the MacBook Air needs 2 SSDs in tandem to really boost performance. And so if you're going to get it and you want one that is going to be performant, you know, and something that you could use to actually edit videos and do some like light editing on stuff on, then you really need to spec it up to 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 SSD drive. But if you do that, now you're in like the 14-inch MacBook Pro price territory. If you get it at a discount, which was a point that Max Tech made, and it's like, yeah, because you can get the 14-inch MacBook Pro at a discount, you know, refurbished or something, and so like the base model doesn't perform very well unless you're doing ultralight tasks, but the one that's spec'd out is so expensive that it almost makes sense not to buy it. You know what I mean? Would that burn you? Yeah, that would burn you. They actually put like a very specific like foil heat shield on it, which moves the center of the heat spot to like the middle of the computer, so it's not touching your legs.
Really?
And Max Tech in this video removed that heat shield and put on like a heat sink, like a much better heat sink, and it brought the temperature down to like 96 degrees Celsius. Isn't that wild? All right, so there you go. So some cool features coming to iOS 16. Something that could be, you know, pretty revolutionary if it gets adopted by hardware manufacturers. But to Lewis's point, we have to wait and see what actually happens, you know. It's like lots of promises are made and then nothing, you know, comes to fruition. So I have no idea. But let's talk about the giveaway real fast, shall we, Lewis?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a. It's odd. Usually I say, hey, go look at it. You can't do this yet because it's the giveaway is not yet live. But by the time the podcast happens, you know, by the time it's actually released, it should be live. This is for a pretty cool looking 3-in-1 MagSafe wireless charging station from Ugreen. Thing retails for $160.
Yep.
We're giving away one of them, one only, and some other kind of charger. I don't actually have the details on that yet. This is still kind of coming together here at the last minute. Anyway, once this podcast goes out, you'll be able to go to the homepage called mac.com, scroll down to the giveaway section, get your entries, get your chance at winning one of these things. If you have never used a MagSafe charging station for your phone, I mean, I can't tell you what you're missing. They're fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
this thing charges iPhone, AirPods, Apple Watch. It looks like a pretty cool thing. I mean, I haven't actually used this one, but looks like a good one.
Yeah, so you just go to cultamac.com, you scroll down. You all know this. But for those of you that are
Yeah, I just told him.
Yeah, I know. But I'm showing them, Lewis.
Oh,
I'm giving
okay,
them a
gotcha,
visual example.
Gotcha.
You
I
scroll
keep forgetting
down.
that this is a visual podcast as well.
Yeah, we are
Like,
doing
it's
video right now.
Masters of just all media, right?
We do it all, Lewis. We should probably get a TikTok account going. You just scroll down and the giveaway will be down there. Though instead of this beautiful device that you see here, you'll be seeing this beautiful device right here. I love MagSafe chargers, man. They're really so they're so convenient. You just snap your phone on there and
love them.
Although I never get to use ours anymore because my wife pretty much commandeered it.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
My wife commandeered your charger?
Yeah.
She's out of control, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got this really nice one from Belkin, and I don't get to use it ever. Only she uses it.
So I think that this Ugreen one charges 15 watts, which is, the maximum you can get from MagSafe. So, or is it the maximum anymore? I can't even keep track of all these things.
Yeah, it still is.
It's starting to make me crazy, all these different numbers. They're all
the numbers
swimming
are
in my
making you
head.
crazy.
And oh, my God.
It's also
I'm a
all
word
your-
person.
It's also all your interactions with El Caney. I think that's probably not helping you.
Doesn't help.
That definitely doesn't help. All right, so there you go. There is the giveaway, and you know what? You got a chance. You might as well enter it because this is a pretty nice charging deck, and you could just win it. You might just win it. All right, that's all the Apple news for the week. That's it. It's gonna be
pitching
like
it
this. It's gonna be like this until September. There's just gonna be nothing. August is definitely one of the slowest months of the year. So we'll have to keep looking for other tech stories, but thankfully there's all sorts of other stuff to talk about. So let's move on. Let's talk about Amazon Prime, Lewis. I know you were saying that you're like Jeff Bezos' #1 fan, right? You got a tattoo of him on your arm. You use Amazon Prime. Didn't you say you get like 3 or 4 Prime deliveries a day?
Yeah. It's not that I'm placing all these orders. My wife seems to like to use Amazon Prime a lot. Although just in the past week or so, I have placed my share of orders.
Yep.
Including one of those great TVs they had on Prime Day. Gigantic TV.
Yeah, like didn't you buy it for like $65?
No, they did have a 50-inch one for $99 for a few minutes.
That has got to be one of the
that.
biggest turds that exists. Like, there's no way a 50-inch TV for $100 is possibly any good.
I don't know.
You probably have to like squint when you're looking at it for it to be in focus. It probably looks terrible.
It was only on sale for a brief period of time. But,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. So Amazon's Prime Air drones are soon going to start making deliveries in Texas. That's the big story this week. They spent 9 years researching these things, coming up with prototypes, and they're going to start doing it. They're going to start flying these things over people's backyards and dropping off packages.
Have you ever seen a demo of how this works?
No.
So if you're in a place where they have drones, which I think eventually will be like most metropolitan areas, they send you a little drone target and you place it in your backyard and the drone flies over. Because people are like, oh man, they're going to have to like hire pilots and stuff. No, man, that's not how Amazon works. Amazon is one of the most automated companies in the world. Like everything is automated. And so the drones, I think, are autonomously flown, and they just, go to your house based off of algorithms and GPS and everything, and then they look for the little target, and then they just drop your
Send
your
this to
package
customer
down.
6292932.
Yep.
Being launched, gone.
And then they just fly away. I've seen examples of it, and it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, and this could totally revolutionize the world of logistics, right? Because now you don't need a person to deliver something the last mile, and that's like one of the most expensive parts of like the delivery chain is like the last mile delivery, right? And if they have a drone, just go drop it off at your house. Like you could get your package in like a couple hours.
So how do they shoot them out with little parachutes or?
Yeah, they have a parachute attached to. I think it's like a little plastic parachute.
Come on, really?
I think so. Yeah, I think they have a plastic. I mean, that was. I saw an example video of it, and I think that's literally how it works.
Wow.
And then they just drop the parachute or they drop the package. The parachute slows it down, right? But it's just like,
So how big can the package be?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think it says here.
'Cause
Probably. I think it's lightweight items, so like
I
maybe under 5 pounds, because drones can't lift very much.
Yeah, I thought about like, I mean, for instance, my wife will sometimes order a, thing of lipstick, right?
Mhm.
And it comes in a box the size of a shoebox, which I'm
Right.
sure is at least partially so that they don't lose it. But, they also send things sometimes in those little plastic, like bubble wrap envelope kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, okay, well, that makes sense. I just dropped that. But the problem is, I mean, I guess if the thing came down low and dropped it low, it'd be okay. But if they dropped it from any height, that thing could, it could fly anywhere, right? So
Yeah.
maybe it'd
I
be
think it's
better if
pretty
it was
low.
bigger. I guess there would be no problem with it just going all the way down, taking a couple of pictures of you through your window as it goes down, and making sure that you're there. And God, what kind of other things will they use these drones for? It won't just be to deliver things. They're also going to gather information about us.
I mean, we'll scan your whole body and
Spy drones.
create a copy of you that Zuckerberg can upload into the metaverse. So that is probably true. Amazon is a really unique company. They've got a very unique culture, and I feel like out of all the companies that are out there, they're a company that actually gets stuff done. Like Tesla's been promising self-driving cars forever. They're selling you the hardware in the car. People are paying like $15,000 to have self-driving car capability, but I don't think we're anywhere close to it. I think it might be years, if not longer, before we actually see self-driving cars, at least maybe on major highways, but in areas that aren't like with a lot of major roads or that don't have like small intersections. I don't think those cars are going to do very well in those situations. I could be wrong, but Amazon is motivated to do this stuff because it helps them be more efficient, and it gives them a competitive edge against competing companies, and they somehow are able to figure this stuff out to accomplish things that no other company can. I mean, like I was just looking at the story. Amazon says, how do you get items? Well, let me read this next paragraph. It's more interesting. Our team of hundreds of scientists, engineers, and aerospace professionals have been working, I'm paraphrasing now, to basically build this technology. I mean, scientists, engineers, and aerospace professionals and futurists, have been ideating and figuring out how to make this work. And they're also working on a self-driving car. Did you want to talk about this story?
Well, yeah, I just saw that headline today. It's funny enough. The Amazon self-driving robo-taxi is, quote, really close to human transport as vehicle passes key safety tests. The, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, blah, 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 some kind of safety test. I didn't actually read this whole story. I just couldn't stop looking at the picture because the thing is so freaky looking, man. Did you see that thing?
Yeah, and you know what's funny is it looks just like Johnny Cab from Total Recall. It looks just like it. All you gotta do is put the little Johnny Cab dude there in the front.
Man, if they had the Johnny Cab, the Johnny in the front there, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean this is what
amazing.
I mean. Like Amazon is so motivated. So like Elon Musk, I think he's got motivation to get self-driving cars working, but he doesn't need to do it, right? He is selling so many cars anyway. People love Teslas. They're like the predominant electric car to buy. And I think the promise that he's going to get it done eventually is good enough for most people. It's like, okay, that will eventually work. But Amazon is they are so focused on doing anything they can to make themselves more efficient, because if they do that, it saves them a ton of money. And a perfect example of this is the way they operate their warehouses. I saw a wild documentary on how Amazon warehouses work now versus the way they used to work. And I won't go too in depth into this because I know this might be boring for some people, but I found this to be fascinating. So like Amazon has these massive warehouses, right? And they use humans to store stuff in bins and then go retrieve those things from bins, because they found that humans were like one of the most efficient ways to perform that task. But you had people running around in warehouses, colliding into each other, dumping stuff over, walking all around. It was strenuous. And so Amazon bought this company that had this new warehouse tech. And essentially, they put the entire process on its head. So now, instead of the human going to the bin comes to the human. They have like a whole army of these little like small flat robots with wheels that drive around. And these robots, instead of the person going to the shelf, getting the item, and then coming back and packing it, the robot goes and picks up the whole shelf. And the person stands in the same spot all day. And there is like a whole fleet of these robots that are constantly driving around, grabbing the shelves, like these giant, like 8-foot tall shelving units. And then it brings it to the person. The person just reaches in, pulls out the item that they need, and then the shelf goes buzzing away.
That seems crazy.
And it just one after another, one shelf after another. And then when the robots get tired, they go charge themselves. And then they go back into rotation, and they're constantly like communicating with each other, so they figure out like the quickest way to get to the shelf that they need without bumping into any other robots. Dude, it's mind blowing. That's the kind of stuff that Amazon is constantly working on. And I remember Jeff Bezos saying, like one of the ways that we operate is we're looking out to do things, 7 years out. Like, what can we do that would take us 7 years to accomplish? Because a competitor can't catch up with you. Like, once you have spent 7 years doing something and you have perfected it, like the automated warehouses, he's like, your competitors there, then at that point, they're 7 years behind you. They can't compete with you. And so that's the kind of stuff that they're doing. And here you have another one that's like 9 years to develop, prime air drones. And if they're able to deliver a package to you with a drone, well, now all of a sudden, even UPS seems like they might be in trouble, right? Like, what would stop Amazon from saying, hey, you know what? We're going to ship packages for anyone now. In fact, they were trialing this in the UK, so that instead of only delivering their own packages, now they'll deliver anyone's packages. You just, take your package to an Amazon drop-off center, or maybe they could even come pick it up from you, and they'll deliver it for you for a small fee. And as someone who has a lot of experience shipping on Amazon, their prices for shipping stuff are far lower than anything that you would get from UPS or any other service. Like sometimes even half of what UPS would cost. It's crazy because they have their own fleet of delivery vehicles. Anyway, I said I wouldn't go on and on about this, but here we go.
What was the documentary called? Was it the Frontline thing?
No, I don't remember. It was actually on YouTube, and I don't remember what it was called, but if I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes. It was wild, man, because it showed you what the old warehouses, how they worked, and then it showed you the new warehouses and how they worked, and all these little robots that ran around. And the company that was that designed the robot system, they were trying to sell this technology to warehouses, but Amazon bought them and then just stopped marketing it to anyone else. It's just for them now.
Was it called Amazon Empire: The Rise and Reign of Jeff Bezos?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Speaking of cyborgs, though, I think that Jeff Bezos might be a cyborg, man. Like I was saying, like he was like this small, lanky dude at the beginning of Amazon history, and now he literally looks like the T2 robot, Arnold Schwarzenegger robot from Terminator 2. I mean, he's absolutely jacked. He's always talking about John Connor. That's another giveaway. All right.
Lord.
Let's wrap up with this story. You guys ready for this? I never thought I'd see the day. I got to start off with saying, Morty! As we kick off into this story. I saw this story and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Do you guys remember the iconic DeLorean? What do they call it? The DMC-12 from Back to the Future, right? The 1983 DeLorean. I think they made like 6,000 of these, 9,000 of these before DeLorean went out of business. But one of the most iconic cars ever created, and the one that was used in Back to the Future. And, it's a cult classic, even though I heard it was a major turd, like constantly breaking. It didn't have windows that you could roll down. So the windows on the car, you actually couldn't roll them down. If you're watching live, you can see it has like this little compartment that you can open that lets in air. But that's it. That was the only way to like get any air into the car. So it's like kind of a quirky car. And then of course it had like the iconic lift to open doors. What do they call those?
Gull wing doors?
Gull wing doors? Yeah, thanks. And so anyway, I thought that was it. But after John DeLorean died, the company was sold to an Irish investor, I believe. And I don't think anything has happened with DeLorean for a long time. Well, lo and behold, DeLorean is being rebirthed. They have got an all-new car in the pipe. It's going to be a a electric vehicle. They call it the Alpha 5. It's going to be a 4-seat, as the Europeans say, coupe, with limited production. I think they're making 88 cars to start. 88 cars. Get it, Lewis? 88 cars. 88 miles per hour.
This whole website is laced with that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. And here it is, my friends. So for those of you watching live, chat, what do you think? What do you think of the all-new Alpha 5? There it is. It's going to have like a 300-mile-per-hour range, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So I wouldn't say any specs were terribly impressive, but it's the Delorean name. I mean, it's one of the coolest brands, one of the most iconic brands ever to exist. You can reserve yours now. They're going to debut the actual physical version of the car at Pebble Beach in August. I guess it's a car show with production slated for 2024. Only 88 units are initially planned, and then they're going to start production on like the full production units. They're also planning an 8-cylinder sports car version of this, and this is designed by the original designer of the original DMC-12 DeLorean.
Did you see they even have this? In addition to 0 to 60, they have the 0 to 88.
Oh, do they?
Goes from 0 to 88 in 4.35 seconds.
That's great, man. I love the little tie-ins. It's got a great backside, as they say. Look at that.
That is actually the lighting in the back was the coolest looking part of it.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I just love the DeLorean brand. Wouldn't say I love those wheels. For those of you who are listening, I'm sorry, we're going to try and describe all this the best you can. It kind of looks like something out of Blade Runner. It looks very futuristic. It looks very sharp. It kind of looks like the BMW i8 in a way. It's got the gull-wing doors. It's got a very sharp, aggressive look. The back kind of looks like an Audi to me, but has like a lot of like straight LED lines. I think it looks pretty cool, man.
I love the way that taillights on cars are changing these days. I mean, it's really kind of crazy. I mean, forever it was just little red thing in the corner, right? Now there's all these different outrageous get-ups and stuff. But I don't know, man. I was looking at this website after you mentioned we were going to talk about this. Some of the language on this website is like ludicrous. DeLorean is unapologetically human, a new energy mobility brand. We have a clear vision of our future, knowing it does not represent today. The future was never promised.
I mean, it kind of does represent what's happening today.
It sounds like some kind of weird video game copy or something, or some sci-fi movie was translated from another language. Just weird sounding.
It does look unapologetically futuristic, but I kind of like it, man. Like the Cybertruck. I love stuff like that. It looks like a vision from some post-apocalyptic future. It looks like a video game. I really love that. I think this car, it's interesting. I wouldn't say I love the front end, but I love the rest of it.
Right? The front looks pretty basic.
Yeah, the front doesn't look like it's anything special. It just kind of looks like a sharper version of like an Audi or something.
Although it does have that weird, like, almost like a little area right behind the nose where it looks like a whole bunch of leaves would gather. It's like a little. It's weird. See that?
Wait to be practical, Lewis. It looks like it's gonna have too many leaves.
That's what's gonna happen.
Top speed of 155.
I noticed they've also already got T-shirts and sweatshirts you can buy.
Yeah, they're probably making a fortune, and you can reserve yours now. Now, is this thing vaporware? Probably. I mean, let's see here. James Chang was saying. He says looks like Lucid. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you. He says I bet they can't even make the battery. Yeah, this might be vaporware. This may never come to fruition, but we'll know. I mean, this is happening with a lot of car companies. I feel like they come in, they make like tons of promises, and then they never actually materialize.
I mean,
the one thing I wish about this car, sorry, Lewis, this is one last thought, is I kind of wish it was more of a homage to the original DeLorean. Like, this is a complete departure. This is DeLorean in name only. I mean, I guess it has the gull-wing doors.
That was the most notable aspect.
But other than that, it's like, what is DeLorean about this? Like they should have done like what they did with like the Dodge Charger, where they made like a new version of the old car, but it still looked like the old car. Like that would have been super cool. Like make the DeLorean the way it looked and reimagine it, give it the same look, but make it futuristic, right? So give it different paints, smooth out some of the style, but make it that thing would have sold like crazy. People would have lost their minds over that car.
That thing almost looks like a Gremlin or something, though. The old one, it wasn't that great looking of a car.
The DeLorean, the original
Yeah,
DeLorean.
yeah, it's that weird boxy front end. I don't know.
I think it was one of the most beautiful cars ever made. I really do. Like I can't think of a car that's more iconic or more beautiful than the original DeLorean. It had like that stainless steel body. I loved the wheels. I loved everything about that car.
Maybe I'm looking at something wrong. Well, I don't
Like
know.
all they needed to do was remake the original DeLorean this body style, but make it futuristic looking, like the Dodge. I think it's the Dodge Charger, right? Like Dodge Charger. They did such a great job with that car. 2022 Dodge Charger. Oh no, I don't mean the Charger. I always make this mistake. The Charger was butt ugly. It was the Challenger. The Dodge Challenger is what I meant to say. Yeah, so Dodge Challenger. Let's see if I can pull up an image of this of the original. I don't know where the original is. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so like, can I open this up? And then I'll open up this one. Yeah, here we go. There we go. That's a good looking one. So for those of you listening, here's the original or watching. Here's the original Dodge Challenger, right? And then the new one, obviously. And that just looks, they just tightened it up. They made it look more aggressive, but it still maintained the same spirit. The DeLorean just looks like a new car, and they're like, let's go with the DeLorean so people buy it. Good looking car, but kind of seems like DeLorean in wings only. You know what I mean?
In wings only. Yeah. Well,
All right.
you know, it's
Lewis,
all about the future, man.
It is all about the future.
Did you read on the reserve page?
Yeah.
Bridging the physical universe with the metaverse will be our way forward.
Did it say that?
Yeah. It
Wow.
almost sounds like a big prank.
How much ayahuasca did that marketing writer imbibe before he wrote that nonsense? It's like
Ugh.
the whole page is just full of like superlative nonsense, future speak, stuff that
New
doesn't even
age
make any
gibberish.
sense. It's just meant to charm you into opening your wallet, but it's like, what does any of that mean? Especially with the metaverse, like what? It's a car.
I know. I don't even.
I
know
hope
what
you're
they
not in the
mean by that.
metaverse while you're driving.
Maybe they'll just release the car, in the metaverse.
It's only going to be in the metaverse.
You could buy one in the metaverse.
You spend like $75,000
great?
on the base model, and then they give you like a version of it that you can use in Facebook or Metaverse, and that's it. You're like, "Where's my car?" They're like, "Oh, we delivered it to you. It's in your email." Didn't you read the marketing copy?
Click
We
right
said
to
we were.
download.
We said that it was going to be in the metaverse. I mean, all right. Oh man, that makes me want to bring my my floating DeLorean over here. My replica
I can't believe
DeLorean.
you didn't have it at the ready.
You know what? I should have had it right back here. You're right.
Yeah,
That was
the whole show.
That was a major blunder, but because my replica comes with the hoverboard as well, and even the sports almanac, dude. It's just such a great artifact from that movie. All right, Lewis, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the cool cast we have for you guys this week. I mean, look, we don't even have any Apple topics to talk about. We did like 5 minutes of Apple news, and the rest we're sitting here talking about cars and drones and stuff. But
Oh my God, this copy is terrible.
well, they should have hired the best. And if he wasn't available, they should have hired you.
Listen to this. Their list of who we are, they say connected and sensation powered and integrity. And what does it say under integrity? Right thing to do.
Well, I mean, it's true. It's true. All right, my friends, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. That's all the cool cast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The fun continues on Twitter. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Walsh. This has been the Coolcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Coolcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. I might have to pick myself up one of these DeLoreans, Lewis. Do you think they'll send me a review?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll send me a review unit?
Yeah, it's like a 20 gigabyte download.
20 gigabyte download? Yeah, no problem. We'll send you a review unit. Do you use Facebook? We'll get that shipped right over to you. No, that'd be pretty cool. I'd love to have some gull wing doors. Big fan of the gull wings. All right, everyone. Oh, need anything from San Diego Comic-Con? Air Funnel Lewis? Ooh. Should have asked me earlier. Get me a gift. Get me a gift. Well, I am to please, Bahish. I am to please. All right, all. I'm hovering towards the end stream button as we speak. I hope you guys have a satisfying, gratifying weekend. As TC would say. Bye, y'all.